This channel is supported by Truefire.
Well, what is this all about then? It's the Truefire Summer Music Festival. What I'm going to tell you about, you can get 1 month of all access for just $1. The all access, you can dip in and out of every single course on Truefire, so that's a really great way to get some awesome courses down you.
Okay, it honestly felt like quite a bit longer than this, but it turns out that I haven't had a gig with a real amp for a month. Now, I've got a gig tonight with my buddy Jake Loosemore, and for reasons that I'll get into this video, I'm going to need all the help I can get. So I'm going to be taking my 1965 Pro Reverb, which is loaded with a set of EV speakers, and I'll explain in this video why I'm a little bit worried. Why? Christ, it's heavy. About my back mostly. So, reason one that I'm worried, my buddy is taking his Fender Dual Professional, which is a 100-watt rare zinky custom shop design. So I'm a little bit worried about whether or not I'll be able to keep up. In most cases, I don't really try to keep up too much with Jake volume-wise. What I've found is that because of the way the amps work, you're often quite a lot louder than you think you are anyway, so that's a little bit of a worry. I'll be using some earplugs. This is the reason, though, that I think the Pro Reverb is going to be what I need to take instead of the Deluxe Reverb, because a 22-watt Deluxe Reverb trying to keep up with a dual professional 100-watt amp, basically a Fender Twin, but with a nicer reverb and some other bits and pieces. I don't think 22 watts will necessarily keep up too well. Second reason I'm worried is it's in Sidmouth, and it's part of the Fringe Festival, so I'm a little bit worried about the load-in, because if this is ending up being a bad load-in, then my back is not going to thank me. So this is an HRM, a J-Rocket HRM into the vibrato channel. This is the other thing that I'm worried about, like how loud this is. And then I'm going to be using that EQ. I might take down the gain a little bit, I think. Use that EQ to get me a rhythm tone. EQ off. Okay, the next thing I'm worried about is what if I can't play loud anymore? Yeah, all of my gigs have been in-ears with an FM9, and I'll total up how many gigs I've actually done with an amp this year. I think it's quite a small amount. I've got a boost on. But hearing myself this loudly behind me is going to be, I think, quite a different experience to my normal in-ear gigs at the moment. My next worry is that Saturday I've got to go back to pretty much an in-ear gig. What if I enjoy this so much and then I've got to suddenly go back, you know, once you play the tube amp live again, do you ever go back? Because I have really been wrestling with this idea that in-ear gigs kind of just don't sound right to me, and when I look back at like footage, it doesn't look like I'm necessarily that uncomfortable, but in the moment I'm quite but not having the best time really, even though I'm using like very good modelers. I think it's down to actually the quality of my actual in-ears. Compressor on. Back to drive. That's my main drive, the HRM. Here's the 5-watt well plus. I've even got a fuzz pedal for this gig. More to that on that later. When you hear that paired with the J-Rocket the Dude. the other thing that worries me is like the actual reliability of this amp. The last gig that I took on this one was at the Ship In Lyme Regis, and there was like a bit of a smell. The gig is actually only 45 minutes, but I think in any case I should probably take a backup, right? Does that make sense? Maybe there'll be other amps on stage anyway, but yeah, those are some of the things that worry, but I am sort of looking forward to this in quite a big way. It's not often that I get to gig this amp anyway, and even if I could, I don't know, it would be a great idea to take it out of the house all the time. But these tube amps like to be used, so I'm looking forward to it. So I'll show you some footage from the gig later on in a fuzz video, but that's what I'm looking forward to. Catch you in another video soon. Cheers for stopping.